Well, welcome to ATGLive, your Thursday night home for all things Star Wars. I am one of your hosts. I'm Pete Flitzer. I've been here every Thursday, and to my with this direction, I can't do the thing. Okay. It's Chris Ryans, a blast from the past, a face that we all know and love, a good friend. Chris, how have you been, my buddy?
Pete,
there it is. There it is.
I've been working hard, Pete. Been working hard on Relaxing Outpost, my friend.
Yes, you have.
Yes, sir.
So it's a website.
It's an online store.
Yes.
Collectibles and action figures. A lot of Star Wars stuff. Marvel Legends, DC comic figures from McFarlane. Some Star Wars stuff. And then there's what else do I have on there? Transformers.
Okay.
And I have Star Wars stuff. And then
I was going to ask you, do you have any Star Wars stuff?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Right.
A lot of pre-orders for Star Wars. A lot of stuff. Like what just came in. Oh, if I could just shameless plug this real quick.
Please.
Your lightsaber is up for pre-order now.
Valen Skull. I have. You know what? I'm obligated with this beard. I'm obligated to order it. Yeah. All right. After the show, man. We'll set that up because I haven't gotten a saber in a while. The last one I got was Ahsoka about a year and a half ago. The double ones, but the animated series versions. So not even like the cool katana types, but
I have
Valen
those.
Skull. Yeah. If you want a Star Wars anything you see back here, you can contact Chris. Anything you see that comes up on Hasbro, what do they call it those days?
Hasbro Pulse. And mostly them. I wish I could get like the in-universe stuff, like what you'd see at like a Galaxy's Edge or like Shop Disney or whatever. I would love to get the in-universe stuff.
Are you doing much with the comics still?
What I'm doing with the comics is I have these bundles where I call comic combos, where I'll have like a Black Series figure or something like that, and I'll have a comic book figure that is adjacent to that figure that is linked to that figure. I have a Dark Droids one, which is a series that Charles Soule wrote, and I have these like R2 and 3PO from the Star Wars Droids animated show.
Yeah,
I have that. I have a Dr. Afro one. I have Mandalorian. There's a Cassian Andor and K2SO that I have that has like their comic in it where like it shows their origins, which may not be canon that much longer.
Yeah, I want to talk about that a little bit later with you, man, because we'll see where that goes for sure. Yeah. But well, good. It's good to hear that the store's taking off. We run the commercial every week, and we're going to run it again here in a couple of minutes. You gotta, if you seriously listen, you could go to all those different places online. You go to Amazon. Don't, because you're not supporting a true fan.
Support small business. Support a fellow Star Wars fan. JD, I see you in the comments. Christmas is coming up, brother. Support small business. Support a member of your fandom.
Do it. Look, seriously, you're gonna buy this shit anyway. Buy it from Chris. No, I'm serious. You're gonna buy it. You know you are. Why not go to Bro?
Hey,
this is turned into a 4-minute commercial for Verizon, but I'm okay with that.
Come on.
Seriously. And if you use the code ATG5, you're going to get 5% off.
But also, starting now until the end of the year, use the code BX Holiday, 20% off your entire order.
20 BX
And you can use it as many times as you want to the end of December.
All right. Now I have no excuse to not get the Balin Skull lightsaber.
I did order one for myself too. I went to my distributor and I was like, how many come in a case? They're like 2. I'm like, give me 2 cases, 3 for the store, 1 for me.
Absolutely. Well, we have actually a really super busy, fun show tonight. Unfortunately, Nick isn't with us tonight. Nick's, I think the quote in the text was for fear of vomiting on screen. So you know what? That's okay. We'd rather you not vomit on screen.
So many that could have gone viral. You should have.
That could have been. You're right. That could have been the thing that pushed us over the edge. Get up to the big subscriber number. So, but we have Chris here, and I'm super happy to have Chris hanging out with us tonight. Also, we will have James Floyd, who wrote this book, the Star Wars Crossword Puzzles book, which is it's in the description for the YouTube right now. We're going to put the link up in the chat a number of times. Go get this book. It's literally the perfect book to get for your Star Wars friends during the holiday season. But we're going to dig into the book with him. And if you're paying attention, if you're watching us on Twitter, go over to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@the-SSW network, because we're going to use the YouTube channel to give away a book, one of these Star Wars Crossword Puzzles editions, signed by James Floyd himself. So you're going to want to be over here and put on your Star Wars thinking cap, because you're going to want to be prepared for that. Also, what else do I have to say? Follow us on all the social medias. We're not spending as much time on Twitter. Thankfully, we are on all those other ones. When I was putting this graphic together, I was shocked at how many social media networks we're on. This explains why we don't keep up with them as much as we would like. But the main one we're spending time on right now is Blue Sky and Instagram. So go over there. Also, our TikToks, we're not doing the dances. We're not teenage girls, but we have some hot takes and some bad takes and some fun stuff. And we get our daily Watto every now and then up there. So we're good to go with that. Also, I want to talk 1 second about a special Patreon exclusive that we have going on. I'm going to play this little 12-second clip. So starting on Tuesday, December 3rd, immediately following the airing of Skeleton Crew, we are going to open it up to patrons. We're going to be recording a podcast that's going to review and recap and sort of an after show, but we're going to open it up to our Patreon members to be a part of that show. We'll probably put links in the chat to get you actually on the show with us. So if you're a patron for as little as $3 a month, you can be a part of those shows. Because look, Chris, I know, after you watch an episode of a Star Wars thing, you got to talk to somebody about it.
Yeah.
I in to talk about it. So talk to us, join us, and we can rule the galaxy together as father and son.
There you go.
We could probably just do that. Anything else that I need to plug? I always got to check my list here. Go to the website. You want to buy stuff, you can do it on the website. We also have some links below on the YouTube channel where you can click straight to things like the I Survived Snowtober glass, the Woke Up and Watch Star Wars t-shirts, all the good stuff. It's all there. And we are hitting the ground running tonight. So why don't we take our very first break, and when we come back, we will be joined by Mr. James Floyd, and we're going to talk about this book. And if you're watching on Twitter, head on over to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@the-SSW network, so you can be in our YouTube chat. So we can't see your chats from Twitter, but come on over here, be prepared. James is going to he's going to give you a clue from the book, and we're going to want you to answer it to win your autographed copy. But we will be back in just a minute with more ATG Live.
What's up, my fellow Gen X Star Wars fam? My name is Chris Rhines from Broaxium. You may know me from ATG's Force Connect that I co-hosted with Pete and Nick. Now, I'm the owner and operator of Broaxium Outpost, an online shop for all your action figure and collectibles needs like Star Wars Black Series, G.I. Joe Classified, Star Wars Vintage Collection, Marvel Legends, Star Wars Black Series and Vintage Collection, Transformers Studio Series, Star Wars action figures, Masters of the Universe, and much, much more, including Star Wars action. Alright, I have a lot of Star Wars stuff, I'm just saying. Stop by and check out the store at www.broaxiumoutpost.com. Sign up to become a part of the Bounty Hunters Guild and stay updated on new pre-orders, sales, and exclusive Broaxium content. Find something you like? Use the promo code ATG5 for 5% off your first order. We have Star Wars figures, by the way.
Yeah, and don't use ATG5 this month. No, use what is it again, Chris?
ATG 10.
ATG 10. Okay, excellent. What was the 20% off one though? I know you're probably
20% off. It's a BX, B as in Broaxium, X as in Zium. Holiday. BX Holiday is the promo code to use, and you can get 20% off your entire order. And you can use that as many times as you want until the end of the year. So December 31st. Boom.
Excellent. Great. Well,
and yes, thank you, Tasty Cakes. We have Star Wars figures. We have a few.
He's got some of the Star Warsy stuff available. So head on over to the website, go do that now. And so now, as I mentioned before, we are excited because we are joined by a special guest, the author of this fantastic Star Wars crossword puzzles, James Floyd. He's a writer, he's a photographer, he's a puzzle designer. He's a lifelong fan of Star Wars and Indiana Jones, and he's been active in the fan community since the 90s. We talked a little bit about before we got on about that time. He produced the Bounty Hunt series of clue-solving adventures at Star Wars Celebrations. He writes and reviews, conducts interviews at clubjade.net, a site that focuses on Star Wars books and news, as well as covers Star Wars comics and occasionally tabletop games for BigShinyRobot.com. And I might have to dig into some of the game stuff. But without further ado, let's bring in our guest, Mr. James Floyd. James, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are things here at ATGLive?
We are cranking. We're having a great night, and it's even better now because we got fun and games because we've got the writer of Star Wars crossword puzzles right here. The ultimate
right here.
Right there. Oh, whoa, that is a much bigger version than I have.
That is the large print version for folks like me.
Is there a large print version?
No, there's no large print version. There's just the audio version coming out next week.
An audio version of a crossword puzzle book. 6-letter word for scavengers.
And this word. Wait, okay, the 6-letter word. The second letter of it goes with the 5 down, which you should be mapping out mentally.
Right, as you're driving to work and listening to your audio.
Yeah. No accidents are happening. Nah.
I'm sure there's got to be a way to do this. We have to. But James, thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. I tried to do an introduction. It was not a great introduction, but I would love to get your Star Wars origin story. When did you get into Star Wars? How did Star Wars enter your life, and what are some of your earlier memories?
Well, first, that introduction that you read off is probably from StarWars.com, and
I think it was. Yes, I believe it was
10 years old or so.
Yeah, you're like they don't do those websites. All those websites are gone.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. So my Star Wars story is I saw the movies as a kid. I don't even remember when I first saw A New Hope that I was that young. Could be in the re-releases at some point. I had my action figures, and then kind of moved on into when the books started coming out, getting into the Thrawn trilogy, moving forward, then getting into the comics, and tracking down figures on the news groups and stuff, and then moving on, being active in my local fan community, and then moving on writing for clubjade.net, BigShinyRobot.com, that helped put me in a good place to move on to writing for StarWars.com and then Star Wars Insider Magazine. And now Star Wars crossword puzzles.
So tell me a little bit, like you had one of the things that doesn't matter how old the bio is, you did Bounty Hunter games at Star Wars Celebration. I don't know what that is, but it sounds like it was probably
the Bounty Hunt, friend Dan and I have been putting those on at Star Wars Celebration since like Celebration 4, and we've done it at every US one since, except the most recent. There were some timing issues, but what it is, it's like the Amazing Race. You have teams of 2 to 4 solving clues, running around the convention center looking for their kind of next person to stamp their scorecard. The idea is that you're a bounty hunter. and you get bounties. To find the bounty, you have to solve a puzzle. Once you solve it, it directs you to some place in the convention center where someone will stamp your scorecard. The hard puzzles are worth more credits than the easy ones, and you have 2 hours to do as many as you can. Oh, and we got somebody saying that they did the bounty hunt in Chicago. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So it's a lot of fun. And my friend Dan and I put it on, and we just have a blast writing these puzzles and watching people run around the convention center.
That's great.
So, what can you tell us about this book? Does it span like all of the eras, or you stay in a particular one, or?
Well, this book is officially canon, so I added a whole bunch of new things in here that no one has anywhere else. So the story group approved all the canon stuff I just added. No, they wouldn't let me.
Did you put Kiadi-Mundi's birthday in there?
I could add that. No, so the book really is a set of 50 puzzles. This is the way that each puzzle is in the shape of a different Star Wars something, character, ship or something. There's beautiful illustrations done by some cool artists at Chronicle Books. And each puzzle has its own theme. While everything is Star Wars, each puzzle has its own theme. The book starts off with a bunch of puzzles, each devoted to a particular movie, moving into some shows, and then things like more general themes of like transportation or aliens or, all kinds of stuff. Oh my, I don't know what that means, but no, Pete chose violence, somebody says.
I usually try to choose violence. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we have, here you go. You got the Death Star. And then every clue in it is connected to Star Wars somehow, whether it's an actual Star Wars word you're coming up with, or it's a quote from the movie that you're filling in a word, or, some synonym for something that fits into Star Wars easily. So that was kind of the challenge of writing it, was to make every single clue Star Wars somehow.
So how does one become a crossword puzzle or a word puzzle, or what is the other word? I'm sure I'm missing it here.
Puzzler?
There's no puzzler, puzzlewski. No, there's a
designer.
Puzzle design. How does I remember?
I'm really good at synonyms here.
You're a
creator, author,
But how did one go down that road? Yeah. A mythosaurus.
Yeah. Oh, there's going to be some dad jokes here. Just apologies in advance.
Please, no, that's critical.
I don't know. I grew up loving puzzles. When you were a kid and activity books were really cool. They'd have mazes and dots of dots and word finds and dumb jokes and all sorts of other little puzzles. And I love those. And so this book is kind of a combination of these two things. I talked about the bounty hunt. We designed a lot of different kinds of puzzles of different sorts, word games and logic puzzles and all sorts of things. So this was really combining those two loves together, Star Wars and crossword puzzles. So when they tapped me to do this book, I was like, yes, I'm fully on board. That it was a lot of fun to do, and I hope people enjoy it as much as I did making it.
Yeah, I've had a ton of fun just digging through and just, it's funny. I'm like one of those guys. I don't do a lot of crossword puzzles, except usually when I'm sitting on a plane and I take the one out of the back and front and hope that it's not been done. But this.
Oh, I did that. I if it's filled in, it was me.
It was him.
Oh man. But no, this has been, and it's great because, as I was saying before to you, James, when we got on, like, some of the clues, I'm like, oh, come on, that's easy. And then like 3 clues later, I was like, do I even know Star Wars? Like, how do I spell Jedi? I don't even know what I'm doing here. So, so it's really cool from that perspective.
Yeah. So, like, when it comes to these, like, what are your favorite types of puzzles?
Oh, for the crossword things, or my favorite types of puzzles, I like to work in quotes where you have to fill in pretty much the whole quote, and I might spread it across a couple different lines of the puzzle. And then sometimes I like to do some clever wordplay that might come up in the the clue we're going to give out later. I don't know.
Nice.
But that where I just kind of, have fun with writing the clue as well. That I don't want to make it dull. I want it to feel like a crossword puzzle and have crossword puzzle type clues that kind of keep it a little bit of like, it could mean this or it could mean this, and that kind of stuff.
Like heavy Star Wars brain teasers.
Some are like that, and some are just thinking about things from a certain point of view.
Nice.
I see what you did there.
And there's a few other puzzles in the book that are not crossword puzzles. There's an anacrostic, which is kind of one of my favorite types of puzzles. There's a word fill in, which is all planets and moons and stuff. It was a good way to put in all those location names. Oh, there's the anacrostic.
Yeah.
To put in those location names without having to clue them all, because that would just take up a huge page. And I pulled those planet and moon names from like everything. So there's stuff from High Republic but you don't need to know any of it. You just fill them in. There's some kind of fun other little puzzles. There might be some jokes here or there that are in the clues. Hopefully you'll find them. Hopefully you'll think they're funny.
Yes.
I amuse myself.
Oh, that's part of the fun of writing. See, that's the thing you get to do. You get to amuse yourself on these sort of things, which is great. And before I forget again, if you're watching us on Twitter, we love that you're watching us on Twitter, but come on over to youtube.com/@the SSW so you can be part of the chat, because we're going to give away a book in just a couple minutes, and you have to be in our chat to be able to be a part of that. So we appreciate that. And then when you're here, hit subscribe and like and share and all that other stuff that you're supposed to do. James, what were some of the biggest challenges you had? I mean, again, 50 puzzles, the number 50 sounds big, sometimes doesn't seem so big, but then you go through and every puzzle is like upwards of 100 clues.
Oh,
so
I don't.
That's like 5,000 clues. You're if I did the math right. What were the bigger challenges?
I don't know how many clues it is, but it is 30,000 words. But some of the challenges were that, writing a lot of puzzles, coming up with themes for 50 different puzzles, and working with my editor on that to be like, let's refine down to which ones are kind of the biggest ones, and which ones can I find images that we can turn into the puzzle outline for. Right. That I'll just walk you through the process. So like I'd have a theme. And usually I'd sit down, let's say it's the episode 1 puzzle. You can show that there because it's one of my favorite art designs. And so I would just start writing a word list of everything I could think of related to episode 1 in terms of character names and places and, themes that get brought up and topics, and be like, oh, okay, hair, because Queen Amidala has elaborate hairdos. But, just doing some deep dives into some of the more minor characters. And so I'd make these giant word lists, and I'd put out, my favorite quotes from it. And then I would find an image like the picture of Queen Amidala online, and I would print it on the back of graph paper. Okay. And I'd print it in reverse so that when I plugged it over on the graph paper, I could start filling it in. And basically I just take words and quotes from those, my word list, and just start plugging them in and start, crossing them over. Eventually I'd reach a point where I'd have to start finding in other words just to connect things. Cause obviously, when the more words cross over each other, the more connections you have, the easier it is to get the words and phrases that you don't know, because it's giving you letters. And so sometimes with those, I would have to, just find words that fit, and then figure out how can I clue it to Star Wars somehow. And so sometimes that was a little bit of a challenge. And usually I'd end up maybe using like only a third of the words on my word list, and usually most of the quotes somehow, even if it was like, I just need to plug in a word in. I'll find a quote that has the word in and plug it in there. And then doing that, probably when I was going my fastest, I could crank one out maybe in like 2 days. Okay. It was a good process. It was a lot of fun. Definitely got better at puzzle writing, and the whole process as I went along, trying to figure out how to speed things up. And, certainly a lot of the trivia stuff just came out of my brain that, I'd been devouring the reference books and everything, ever since they started coming out. So,
So like, were there times where you have a word in your puzzle and then you had to like maybe go and, look something up in one of the encyclopedias or Wikipedia or through the story group or whatever, and then create your quote sort of, or your clue backwards into the word? Or
sometimes like that. Yeah. I'd look at, maybe I'd have the word and I'd be like, okay, how do I clue this? How, I want to make sure, if it's from a quote, I get the quote absolutely right. And those online scripts and stuff are really easy for finding words, but they're not always the final, what we see in the movie or what we hear in the movie. Right. So I'd actually go to Disney Plus and play that clip of the movie just so I had the words exactly right, use the official captioning, and go with that. Yeah, there was a couple things where it was just like, okay, I just want to make sure, yes, that I went through and fact checked everything to make sure that I didn't get something wrong. And there was one time I was writing a puzzle and I realized I spelled something wrong and it needed an extra letter, and I just took the whole puzzle and widened it by one. And then I realized I broke a whole bunch of other stuff and had to redo like a whole, one corner of it, like couldn't stay on its own because it was connected too many ways. And so I had to redo that corner. There's a lot of times where I'd get really close to having two sides come together and it's just like, I can't get it to work. So let's just erase one of those and start over again, trying some different words, see what fits, and then I can connect them.
That's cool. Yeah, one of my favorite layouts and most creative to me is this the twin pod cloud car for the Lando Calrissian and Bespin puzzle. I think it's just really, that's a clever design. It's very cool. It's very cool.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the challenges of some of the shapes is that, I wanted to do a TIE fighter puzzle, except as a TIE fighter is, two sides and a middle piece, and that doesn't leave a lot of room for like lots of grid puzzle stuff. Right. I managed to stretch it out to a little more, but yeah, the X-Wing and TIE fighter are pretty narrow in terms of the boards they get. That some of the puzzles, like the X-Wing is like maybe 20 clues, but most of the puzzles are in the 40 to 60 range. One of them tops out at over 90. And that, And some things I would want to make a shape of at first, and then I would be like, no, that can't work. Like Cloud City, it's just like, so, again, a big top and a straight down. And it's like most of the page, you're going to have like 4 lines at the top and one giant phrase going down. And that's not a puzzle.
16 down is very long.
Yes.
What is the opening crawl of the Empire Strikes Back? Oh man.
So with the intro that Pete did, said that you were a fan of another franchise within Lucasfilm. So do you have any other dream books that you would like to do, maybe within the franchise or outside of that?
Oh, absolutely. I would love to do Star Wars other types of puzzles book that, like, word finds, but more complicated word finds that kind of take things to a second level. All sorts of other types of word puzzle, logic puzzle type things. I'd love to do Indiana Jones related stuff, if that's what you're alluding to. Doing Disney or Disney Pixar puzzle books. Yeah. One of my other passions is visiting Star Wars filming locations. And I've written a couple articles in Star Wars Insider magazine about, going to Finse, Norway for Hoth, or the west coast of Ireland for Acto, visiting Death Valley and some of the other California sites. And so, I'd love to be able to turn that into a book as well, just like a regular book, not a puzzle book. So those are some of the ideas I got kicking around. We'll see if any of those come together.
That's great. That's very cool. Awesome. Well, James, you've given us a good deal of time, but before we let you go, we want to make sure that we give away a copy of the Crossword Puzzle book. So if you're hanging out with us in the chat, be prepared. We're gonna go by what I have on my screen. So my word is final. Sorry to say. because you gotta have some official center of it. But anyway, so James is going to give us a clue from the book, and whoever puts in the correct answer first. I'm going to put it up on screen. We'll let James look at the answer and decide if it's correct or not. But we'll put it up in the order that it comes up on my screen here. And then afterwards, if you win, we're just going to need you to reach out to us on Blue Sky and give us your address, or that's your best way to go. Okay, James, digging into the Braille version of the.
Yep. No. We got the. Okay, here we go. There we go. Wait. Let me.
My shoulder would give out on me trying to do like one of those cross puzzles on that one. That would.
Well, the funny thing is that these crossword puzzles work in English and in Huttese.
Oh, I
nailed it in Huttese.
The Shriwook version you don't want.
You don't.
It's mostly just R's.
Yeah,
but it's easy to make a puzzle like that. Yeah. You can just put, just the word. It practically builds itself.
Yeah, you're gonna get something right.
All right. So again, be ready in the chat. The first person to put in the correct answer, I'm going to put up the answers as you put them in, and James will judge if it's right, and if it is, then we'll work together to make sure that we get you your copy.
Okay, this is a 5-letter word.
5-letter word.
And the clue is R2D2, Radis, Rican, or Red Leader.
Ooh.
So R2D2, Radis, Rican, or Red Leader. 5 letters.
5-letter word. It is not Zillow.
No, the answer is not Zillow.
I can't even figure that one out. 5 letters.
I mean, that was my first thought.
Wait, is this it?
KG is correct with Rebel.
Yes.
That's, the little wordplay there of everything beginning with an R. So
and that's where my brain was stuck. It was like, it's got to be an R or something. And she got a KG. Way to go. Congratulations. Reach out to me either on Twitter or Blue Sky, wherever you follow us, and we'll get an address. And KG was saying in here, I need to get me one of these. So
there you go. Happy holidays.
To go. Congratulations. Happy holidays. That is fantastic. Again, the link to buy this book is in the YouTube description. We'll put it back up here on the screen during the break. And if you're listening to this in the podcast in a couple days, it'll be in the description. Go get it on Amazon.com or wherever you find your favorite books. And James, where can people follow you on the interwebs?
Well, I'll just say, that there's lots of places you can get the book online. Bookshop.org is a good way to support your local independent booksellers. I just did a signing here at Mysterious Galaxy in San Diego, and I'll be doing another signing this Saturday at Barnes & Noble Loma Theater in San Diego. But to find me online, you can find me on Blue Sky and Instagram and Twitter, although that'll be winding down, at James Jawa. I also do a podcast called Star Warsologies, where my co-hosts and I have a guest expert every time, where we talk about how their science or their field of study connects to Star Wars. We just put it on an episode this week on archaeology, and we have a lot of fun doing it. So check out Star Warsologies pretty much everywhere. We have it on YouTube as well.
That is awesome. Well, James, can't thank you enough for hanging out with us tonight. And thank you so much for donating a book. And KG is particularly happy about that. And but thank you so much for joining us and telling us about this book. And seriously, it is like the perfect gift. And it's great for your sort of casual Star Wars fans too. Your friends who are kind of into Star Wars are like, you're a nerd. I want to be a nerd too. Go get them this book. This is it's a great, it's a fun book, and it's a lot of fun. So James, thank you so much, and may the Force be with you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. May the Force be with you guys too.
Awesome. Well, we will be back in just a moment with more ATG Live. And we are back with ATGLive, your Thursday night home for all things Star Wars. Normally we're on at 9. Tonight we went on at 8, switching things around a little bit. And as you can see, no, that is not Nick Milkey.
I am not Nick.
No,
I can't grow a beard.
That's okay. We still love you. We're so glad you're here. It's Chris Ryans. I saw in the chat somebody said, "Is Chris back?" Well, Chris is always welcome back. Chris is here. Sometimes he's just in the chat. Sometimes he's hanging out with us. It's just great. And you know what? He's a Philly guy. I'm kind of a Philly guy. So we're close proximity. And I'm going to do it one more time, Chris. Go buy your freaking holiday gifts, your pre-orders, your Star Wars, your G.I. Joe, your Marvel, your DC at BroxyMoutpost.com. All that stuff. BX Holiday, 20% off. Go and do that now. As I said at the top of the show, and maybe Chris, maybe that should be your tagline. You're gonna buy this shit anyway. Buy it from me.
Just change it and just put that on the website. Like, come on, come on.
You're
gonna buy it anyway. Why not? Why not help the little guy out? What are you gonna do? Go to Target and Walmart? Please.
Target doesn't. I've been to Targets lately. There's nothing there. It's and.
What are you gonna do? Get it from Amazon? Did he ship it like crap and it comes to you all banged up?
Be all banged up.
Not at Broaxim Outpost. I pack things with the care that you would give a blind puppy. I'm telling you right now, it will be packed with all kinds of love, whatever you get from me. And 9 times out of 10, it's gonna come with the Star Wars comic.
See?
You sure you still want to get something from me, Pete? Because it'll come with a Star Wars comic.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of makes me nervous about getting it, but I'll do what I can, I suppose. I mean, if you leave the comic out, maybe I'll... that's
wow.
Not nice. That is not cool. That is not cool at all. Well, hey, we had a week full of news. It's funny, for a franchise that's dead, for a time where there's no show on the television, for coming off the Acolyte, which was supposed to kill Star Wars, there's a lot of news going on. So, Chris... We're going to hit the news. Here we go. Well, we are your source for all the Star Wars news of the week. And this week, along with Chris Ryans, instead of Nick, we're going to mix things up a bit. There is some stories like there's no new Star Wars on the calendar for Christmas 26. Rise of Skywalker is finally hitting comic book shelves, Chris. Visions 3 is coming, and we now know the directors of Skeleton Crew. So let's get to it. Let's hit that first story. Here we go. Well, in a surprising shakeup, Disney has officially removed a planned Star Wars movie from its December 18th, 2026 release slot. The vacated date has now been assigned to the 6th installment. I didn't realize there were so many of the Ice Age franchise, making another instance of Disney shuffling its major tentpole releases. This decision leaves only 2 Star Wars movies on Disney's release calendar, the highly anticipated Mando and Grogu spinoff, which is set to hit May 22nd of 2026, and an untitled project slated for December 17th, 2027. While speculation continues to surround 2026's project's identity, insiders suggest it might have been Rey's movie filmed by and directed by Charmito Obaid-Chinoy. The project has encountered hurdles, including the departure of screenwriter Stephen Knight, who left to work on a Peaky Blinders film. Despite the delay, Daisy Ridley remains attached to reprise her role as Rey. Alternatively, the vacated slot could have been reserved for James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi era project, which is still in development. It's less likely that the date was intended for Dave Filoni's crossover event film, as Filoni is tied up with Ahsoka Season 2, which reportedly sets the stage for this film. Other Star Wars projects in development include a Lando Calrissian movie starring Donald Glover, Sean Levy's film, Taika Waititi's alleged project, and a potential trilogy for Simon Kinberg. Despite the change, Lucasfilm's slate remains robust, promising an exciting future for the galaxy far, far away. Chris, should we worry about this not being on the slate anymore?
Well, is it if it's not for sure the Rey or the Mando Grogu thing? All right, cool, whatever. Look, just give me whatever. Just if you're gonna, what do we know for sure what movie it is?
We don't know what movie it is. All we knew is that there was a date that there was supposed to be a Star Wars movie in Christmas era or Christmas time of 2026, and it's not there anymore. And now it's Ice Age. So,
well, listen, I know the Rey movie is still going to happen. The Mando Grogu movie is still going to happen. Anything else to me is like, we'll see. So if something is not there for right now, we didn't know what it is. So it's like, it's like whatever, all right, cool. If something else will be in another spot, as long as it comes out at any point, cool.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I sort of headlined this entire show today that Star Wars is back on track. And I know that that's a very broad statement and very not based in anything other than, honestly, I think the fact that they're only giving us one movie in 2026, we only know of two things happening in 2025. I think that's okay. I think we're going to get to a point, we've talked about it before about sort of wanting to miss Star Wars. I know that you are the king of gimme, but the reality is if it's going to mean that we're going to perhaps get something that's maybe a little bit, I don't say better produced because that pisses people off, but better produced because, look, you and I agree, ATGLive had a great story, but to me, it was bumpy. It was hard it had some issues. If it was given an extra year and it was done on a bigger budget and perhaps as a major motion picture, it might have been different. So
it would have, that movie had black people in it, man. They would have been angry anyway. Don't get me started.
This is true,
but I love that show. But like for me is I'll take whatever you give me as far as Star Wars goes. So if there's only like one live action movie or project a year, cool. Because there's books, there's comics, maybe an animated series, something like that. As long as there's something Star Wars coming out and whatnot. Like I'll tell you this. There's the Battle of Jakku comic series is out right now by Alex Segura, and it's fantastic. You can read that and like you can see the story, you can see the pictures moving. It's like you're watching a Disney Plus show. It's so good. So I mean, there's so much good Star Wars out there, regardless of if it's motion picture, live action, animated or not.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. It's there for you if you want it. It may not, and that's good. And I think that's the other piece is it's coming out in different types, different formats, and things like that. So, well, that's great. Yeah. So let's hit our next story here. Sorry, managing all this here. Here we go. Next story. Marvel Comics is set to bring the galaxy far, far away back to life this February. And just great that you're here with us tonight, Chris, to talk about the highly anticipated Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker adaptation. This 5-issue limited series, penned by acclaimed writer Jody Houser and illustrated by Will Sliney. Sliney or Sliney? Sliney, right?
Sliney.
Yep, promises to revisit the climactic conclusion of the Skywalker saga. The adaptation not only captures the epic battle between the Resistance and the First Order, but also includes brand new scenes not featured in the 2019 film. Fans can look forward to witnessing Rey's perilous journey to uncover the Sith's hidden stronghold and the shocking resurgence of Emperor Palpatine. Meanwhile, Poe Dameron grapples with the unthinkable galactic threat, and Kylo Ren's destiny intertwines with the Resistance final stand. These iconic moments are brought to life through Sliney's dynamic art and Guru EFX's vibrant colors, providing a fresh visual experience. Coinciding with the adaptation's release is Star Wars Legacy of Vader, an ongoing series by Charles Soule and Luke Ross that delves into Kylo Ren's rise as Supreme Leader, exploring the connection to Darth Vader's dark legacy. It bridges the narrative gap between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. The first issue featuring covers by Phil Noto, Jody Muir, and Brian Stelfreeze hits shelves on February 26th, and you can pre-order it now. Probably at Proaxium, I would say, Proaxium Outpost.
That'd be nice. I'm working on getting a comic distributor now.
Oh, nice. Excellent.
Yeah.
But Chris, this was put on the shelf for a while, right? This was supposed to come out a couple of years ago, right?
So supposed to come out it's supposed to come out in 2020, but then I guess 2020 happened. So some things got lost in the shuffle. I was really looking forward to this one because there's going to be extra scenes and whatnot that or deleted scenes, that because we got none of that in any release of Rise of Skywalker, if I'm not mistaken.
There's a couple of deleted things, but they're not finished and things like that. Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what these scenes are. Hopefully, it patches some of the Finn stuff together. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm glad it's finally coming out. I thought they were going to do it as all one thing, but they're going to bring it out in issue form. Still, it works for me.
Yeah, I mean, I would have thought at this point being so delayed, it would have been a
trade paperback by now.
Trade paperback, but I mean, 5 issues is cool. And again, to your point, I hope that it brings us, and they say it's going to bring us some new scenes and maybe fill in some of the gaps. One of the things that was in there that I wanted to ask you about specifically is this Guru EFX vibrant colors. Do you know what that means? What is that?
Oh, Guru Effects. Guru Effects. It's a I think that's is that a person? I think that's a person because I've had the when I do the previews for these comics, I look for them online and see what exactly they do, he or whatever.
Right.
I don't know if that's a person, if that's a program, if that's the start of the robot apocalypse. Like I don't know, but I'm not sure, but they do good work.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
So, that's great. Yeah, so that comes out in February. Now I guess it'll be 5 months, right? It'll be a monthly, I guess, drop.
Yeah,
I think. Okay. And maybe that now is not the time, but I'm worried about the Charles Soule Kylo Vader comic.
Why?
Just because I did not.
Oh, that's right. You didn't like the other one.
Rise of Kylo Ren was just very hard for me to read. It was just.
I loved it.
But Charles Soule does such great stuff with Vader, so.
Yeah, and with this been the legacy of Vader, and we're getting what we're getting. This is between Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
That's what this thing is, right? This would be good to see. This would be good to see, like what he does with it. Anything that fleshes out that era more, I'm all for it.
That's great. Yeah, Charles. That's what's so weird to me about the Rise of Kylo Ren is everything. Not that I read a lot of comics, but the things that I've read by Charles, including. The first High Republic book, which is the only High Republic book I've read, it is great. So it was weird to me, but maybe it was a style choice and it just didn't work. But that happens. All right. Well, let's move on to our next story. And I will start this here, and I will bring this up. And here we go. Disney and Lucasfilm have announced the return of Star Wars Visions in 2025, featuring 9 new episodes from 9 Japanese animation studios. A blend of returning contributors and fresh creative voices promises to expand the acclaimed anthology series with even more imaginative takes on the Star Wars universe. Among the returning studios are Kamikaze Duga, who did The Duel, Kinema Citrus Co., who did The Village Bride, which was great, Production IG, who did The Ninth Jedi, who everybody talks about and loves, and Trigger, who did The Twins, which I didn't love, but that's a good show.
I love that.
A good style. I love the style. These studios delivered some of the most beloved episodes in previous volumes, with several adapted into Star Wars Visions manga. Newcomers to the series include Anima, working in collaboration with Kamikaze Duga, known for Sandland by Akira Toriyama. David Production,
and he just passed away. He was the creator of Dragon Ball.
Oh, okay.
And wow. He passed away recently, yeah.
Wow. Next one is David Production, famed for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Polygon Pictures. Are you familiar with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
Very much.
Not. And Polygon Pictures, which contributed to Star Wars The Clone Wars, will also join the lineup. Project Studio Q, with credits on Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0, Thrice Upon a Time, and Wit Studio, celebrated for Attack on Titan, which I think everybody has seen, and the Ancient Magus Bride round out the roster. Although a release date hasn't been confirmed, speculation suggests Star Wars Visions Volume 3 may debut around Star Wars Celebration in Japan next year. I don't think so. It's unclear if returning studios will continue their original stories or create entirely new narratives, but fans are hopeful for follow-ups to some of the series' standout episodes. With its commitment to artistic freedom, Star Wars Visions has become a creative playground for visionaries, inspiring both animation and publishing projects, including acclaimed comics by Peach Momoko and Takashi Okazaki. The upcoming volume is sure to add new layers to this ever-evolving Star Wars tapestry. I am not a huge anime fan. Shocking, I know. But it was such a great introduction and such a great way to tell the Star Wars story. Chris, are you? I know you're excited about this. What of the returning studios and of some of the ones coming out? What are you looking for?
Well, let's see. If let's see. I'm just going to look over this real quick. the one that's let's see, the Anima and Kamikaze Doga. I'm really looking forward to what they do because like Sandland, I like that Sandland animated series that is an Akira Toriyama created property was fantastic, and I love the character design. So if they bring like that Toriyama design to Star Wars, I think that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Everything else I'm looking forward to. If there's someone who's been involved with Evangelion and they're doing something with Star Wars, I'm in. Trigger is always fantastic. Always. One thing I was, and this may sound weird coming from me, and it hurts my soul to say this. I wasn't a huge fan of the second Visions.
And is it because it wasn't anime?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. And like that's no knock on everyone else who did something with it. I mean, I watched it and I enjoyed it. It's just not something that I would watch again. I'm a big fan of anime, so I'm really looking forward to what they do. One thing I would like to do if they don't continue these stories like they did in the other one, I would like for maybe them to do less Jedi related, lightsaber related ones, and let's see the other aspects of the galaxy. Because there's more to it than just Jedi. Even though all their Jedi stuff, mixed with the samurai and ninja aspects and whatnot, were fantastic. But I would love to see something with the scoundrels.
I feel like, and I don't disagree because I think that would be awesome. But I just feel like the quote unquote magic of the Jedi fits really nicely with that.
Absolutely.
So I think they end up kind of doing that whether they want to or not, perhaps. Mm-hmm. But no, yeah, I agree with you. I'd love to see give me some bounty hunters or some different takes,
some underworld stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that would be really great. Awesome.
Or if they're going to do the Jedi stuff, do something in the High Republic era.
That would be cool. That would be really cool because it could become canon, right? Because there's so much uncharted territory there, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Oh, that would be great. That's a cool concept. I love it. All right, we have one last regular story. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take a break and we're going to hit on a couple quickies of other things that came out over the week. So let's get to this here now. Thanks to a newly released Disney Plus press release, Star Wars Skeleton Crew fans now have a clearer picture of the directors behind each episode, with the show boasting an impressive roster of creative talent. The series, bookended by showrunner John Watts, begins and ends under his direction, setting the tone and closing out the journey. David Lowery also lends his distinct style to episodes 2 and 3, promising early intrigue and emotional depth. The director lineup continues with an array of acclaimed filmmakers. The Daniels bring their unique flair to episode 4, while Jake Schreier takes the reins for episode 5, hinting at high-stakes adventure with a one-word teaser, booby traps. Bryce Dallas Howard, a fan favorite for her work in The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, directs episode 6, describing it with the heartwarming word friendship. Episode 7 is directed by Lee Isaac Chung, and is expected to mark a pivotal moment in the series, with Chung cryptically saying, "Things get real." This creative diversity aligns perfectly with the ambitious tone of Skeleton Crew, aiming to strike a blend of coming-of-age storytelling with classic Star Wars adventures. Fans can anticipate a dynamic narrative journey with balance of whimsy, tension, and emotional resonance, culminating in an unforgettable finale. Chris, we were talking about this before. The way the advertising for this has been, this is aimed straight at the 80s nostalgia, at the Gen X thing. I put out sort of a hot take today on Twitter saying this is for us. This show is for us. Now I know it's obviously aimed at kids, but I feel like it's aimed at kids and us to watch it with kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's aimed at Gen X kids and today's current kids.
Right.
I think
right.
Like no one will appreciate us, that style like we would. That's the era that all that kind of came up in. I am like I was saying before we went on. I wasn't. I was of course going to watch it, of course excited for it, but I'm starting to get really hyped for it now. So yeah, it is very much a very different type of Star Wars story, which will scare a lot of fans who can't seem to get it past the original trilogy. But I'm looking forward to seeing how this fits in.
Yep.
And I'm looking forward to, that's the one thing is that sometimes things won't fit at first, but after time, it blends into what Star Wars is and just adds to the ecosystem of what Star Wars is.
Well, so let me ask you about that, because I kind of hope it doesn't fit in. Meaning, I hope it's standalone enough so that it's not reliant on other things that have happened, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I just mean in that it may not seem like Star Wars at first,
right?
But like you watch it a couple times and whatnot, and it becomes just part of that whole pantheon.
And it's interesting because watching this, they've dropped a couple scenes over the last week, little 50-second clips, and actually to me it feels really much. Now I said this about Kenobi and I was burned. But it feels very much like a movie. Like the way things are put together, the way it looks like a movie instead of a television show. And man, it just the tone of the scene. I'm glad I've seen these two or three scenes that have been dropped, because the advertising looks fun, looks cool, looks like Goonies in space, which is fun. But to see the interplay between the kids and what's his name? Jod, whatever his name is, played by
Jod Nanad. Yeah.
Right.
Jude Law.
Yeah. Jude Law. To see the interplay is makes me excited about the show.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what his character is like. It seems like he's fronting that he's a Jedi and he's really isn't.
Right.
Jod. Yeah, that does it. Jod Nanawud.
What a
Shanana. Shanana would.
Yeah.
But I looking forward to seeing how his character, goes through whatever transformation he's going to go through. Throughout this series, is he just a scumbag who's playing at being a Jedi and fooling these kids? Is he really a Jedi? That sort of thing. It's. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, and I like that we don't know a lot, and I'm really trying to be careful not to overthink it and put too much of my own sort of spin on it before it happens. But that's cool. And again, patrons of the SSW Network, head over to patreon.com/the SSW Network, and you will be able to join us right after every episode. Me and Nick will be doing a live recording of our in-depth podcast. We're calling it Skeleton Key, Unlocking the Secrets of Skeleton Crew, and you can be with us for that every week. But so that's the main news that we got this week. We're going to take a real short break, and when we come back, we're going to hit a couple of other news stories, quick hits that came through. Just want to get your opinions and your thoughts. It has been a crazy, busy week for Star Wars news. So we are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to hit a little bit more action. We'll be back with more ATG Live. And we're back with more ATG Live. I'm Pete Fletcher, and that's Chris Ryans, not Nick Milky, but Chris Ryans hanging out back again. So good to see your face again, dude, talking Star Wars.
It's good to be here. And I'm sorry I'm not seeing Nick, but probably it's still that whole Snoketober thing and Snokevember had caught up with him. I told him that was
you
dangerous.
Can only do so much. You can only slam so many beers.
He's his brains out right now.
That's what happens when you start at noon. It's that is no good. That is no good for anybody. Well, as I said, Chris, there was a couple more things that we want to hit, so we're going to hit a little ATG OT. Oh yeah, I love those little bumpers. I don't care. I love that stuff. This is the best produced show on Thursday nights about Star Wars with 2 to 5 people on screen at once. I'm trying to put as many modifiers on there so I can't get in trouble or whatever. But anyway, we have a couple more things going on here in the Star Wars universe. I just want to throw them out there, just get your thoughts on them. First thing, I hear that Ahsoka season 2 is going to start filming in 2025, according to Daniel RPK, who has been fairly accurate with the news and rumors. He says it's going to start filming in April of 2025, which is still 6 months from now. Chris, that means that we don't get it until maybe 27, right? If it's starting filming in April, it takes 3 to 6 months to shoot. It's the end of 25. They're not going to rush it out for the following year, probably. How do we feel about that?
As I get older, I kind of want things to come out quicker, just in case.
Dude, it's so funny you said that. I thought that the other day. I was like, what if I don't see all the Star Wars?
Yeah. You know, that was, I'm telling you, like, that's something face to face with your mortality. Where I'm thinking, like, oh, when's that coming out? If I was like 30 something, like in a couple of years, all right, cool.
Right.
Now I'm like, oh man, I hope I
I hope I make it.
I hope I make it. So I'm hoping that they shoot this thing and they're editing while they shoot, and then they bring it out like the week after they're finished.
Right.
That would be fantastic.
We finished shooting in July 25, and in August it hits. It's just,
boom.
Or maybe
I love it.
They do no effects. It's all puppets and Ahsoka, and that's it.
Send me the work print in the dailies. I'm fine. I'll edit it together and have a good old time myself.
We'll get it right out there.
Just want to see it before
Well, we do know in the next quick hit here that Mando and Grogu is coming out in 26. We know that movie is going to hit. They unveiled a new logo at an APAC event in Singapore, but they also reiterated that Sigourney Weaver is going to be part of the film, according to Cinema Today. Nick and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Would love your thoughts. What kind of character do you want to see Sigourney, aka Ripley Weaver playing?
Some kind of Imperial would be awesome.
That's what I said.
Some of the Imperial remnant or something like that. But then, of course, it should just be like a vendor at a
right. Starring Sigourney Weaver in 8 seconds at a Tatooine.
Yeah, she's at the Tasha station. She's new janitor at the Tasha station, just mopping.
I think she should be Peli Motto's mother. I think that would be because Peli is kind of there's pieces of her character that are throw over to Ripley. The suit, the hair.
I think you're right. That could be the case.
Well, I mean, maybe not. I don't know.
So maybe Acolytes of the Beyond.
Ooh, that could be. Or
because with the comic that I'm reading right now, the Battle of Jakku, they're in there, and there's characters from, and she could easily play one of them. The main one, she could easily play.
Okay, or and I'm saying this just to get a reaction from you. What if she's Ray Sloan?
I would be upset. There's not many of us. Let us just keep the. Come on.
I'm kidding. But that honestly, no. But maybe she could be. I'm thinking in that same Imperial remnant kind of thing for sure. Absolutely. That would be cool. All right. There's another thing that just happened. It hit today. Are you still playing Outlaws?
It's on pause right now.
Oh, you're like waiting. You're like,
I am looking at my Xbox right now. I'm just like, yes.
So I honestly uninstalled it because I stopped playing it because I didn't get far enough into it to really start to love it. But with some of the updates, like stealth combat is not necessary in this new update as necessary. You can be more competitive. When I play games, I'm like the guy who hacks and slashes. I'm not into the patience of sneaking around. So I'm really hoping that makes a difference. And so have you started playing the new DLC?
I got right to where I'm supposed to, and then I had to put on my headphones And
come talk to me.
Come talk to you.
Sorry.
No.
Oh, that wraps
yeah.
But have you noticed anything else with the deal or with the update?
I need to get myself acclimated back into Outlaws because outside of Star Wars games, I'm a huge BioWare nut.
Okay.
So I've been playing Dragon Age of the Veilguard since it came out on Halloween, and I'm already on my third playthrough. I love this game so much, so I'm going to have to like get out of the mindset of Dragon Age and the button schemes and all that stuff and get back into this.
Yeah.
But I am so looking forward to it. I wish they would have hired me to play the Lando guy, or at least do the voice. Because
so I have to say, I'm glad you said that because when I watched some of the promo for it, he's not a good Lando. I mean, no offense.
I mean he's great.
He's no Chris Ryan's, is all I'm saying.
And one of the cool things that he's not trying to do Billy D, so that's cool. That they're not, trying to make it so you have to be blah blah blah. I haven't done that voice in months. But that you have to imitate, him, or because he sounds closer to Donald Glover's.
He does,
and it's really his own too. But yeah. I think he's trying to do a nice meld of those two. So
yeah, well, it's not great, but. Hey, hopefully, I'm hoping this update gets me back into the game because I tried so hard to get into it, but I couldn't. All right, there's one.
Look at that.
What's that? What do we got in there?
Someone's in the chat who's sick off of.
Oh, look at these two handsome running. Look at Podcast of the Wills. I hope you're not vomiting as you're writing that. I hope you
learned your lesson as far as those Snowtober things go, man.
That'll get you every time. All right, so we got one more quick thing, and this hit over, I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before, when the new Star Wars Encyclopedia dropped, which is written by like everybody we know. It's fantastic. Yeah. We're gonna Nick and I are hoping to have some of these some of the writers on there, Brandon Warnerity, Kelly Knox, just like the laundry list of all our friends on social media. I was gonna say Twitter, but we're all leaving Twitter as quickly as we can. In this book, which explains why you didn't respond to my message on Twitter the other day. Like, hey, Chris, where are you? But in this book, they dropped a full image of the mythosaur. Have you seen it?
Oh, no. I still need to get the book. I haven't gotten the book yet. Yeah.
I have to. Let me see if I can find it here. Hold on a second. I normally don't go off on this kind of a sidetrack, but I'm gonna find this picture here because well, that's the thing, is like, is this the right place to share the mythosaur for the first time, right? I mean
all we got was an eyeball, and maybe like part of its head. No, we did get we got find it. Yeah, let me see.
Okay, hold on a second. I don't know if this is gonna work here. I may have to hold on. I'm going to do this. We're going to make this work. Okay, hold on. Share screen. There it is. It's not. Here it is. Oh, it's down there. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the best I can do right now. But
I see it. Okay, that's.
It's. I mean. Here's the issue that I have with it, right? It's this. If you go, Kyle Katarn shared a picture of it. So if you're on social media, follow Kyle. He just dropped a picture of it. It's this big mythical creature, this big thing we've been waiting for in Star Wars lore since Boba Fett first showed up with the skull on his shoulder. To drop it in a book like that feels a little strange. What do you think?
Gimme. I don't care. Well, as long as I see it,
There it is. Wait, that's
it.
Look at it. Yeah.
He's supposed to write that.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, but it's like I don't know.
Unless you're gonna write it like the sandworms from Dune, where you're standing up because you're not sitting on that thing.
Yeah. Where are you gonna put it? Yeah.
Imagine the jock itch from that thing. That just wow.
I'd rather not, to be honest with
But that looks cool.
But what do you think of it showing up for the first time in all its glory, its full imagery, in a book versus in a movie or even in a comic?
I think it's still going to hit hard when you see it live action. We all know what a brontosaurus looks like, but when we saw it in Jurassic Park for the first time, that was just like, I was just like, oh.
Okay, I like that perspective. I like you changed my mind on it. That's perfect. I like that a lot. And I think if nothing else, it kind of, to me, it kind of says that we're going to see it in the Mando Grogu movie, right?
I would hope so.
If they have a digital model to put in a book,
yeah,
it's ready to go, right?
I hope so. Yeah,
I think so. I think it would make sense for sure. Well, I think that's going to do it for us tonight. So Chris can get back to Outlaws. Chris, where can people find you now? Because you're no longer on Twitter or X or whatever it's called, the Elon Musk propaganda network.
Yeah, you can have that. They can have all that shit. No, you can find me on Threads, where I just pretty much I'm talking Dragon Age Veilguard with people on there. Instagram, Blue Sky, just under Chris Rhines or Bro Axiom. Instagram under Chris Rhines, Bro Axiom or Bro Axiom Outpost. TikTok, no dances. Just putting the quick shots over there. I'm on YouTube under for Bro Axiom. So doing that, and once again, check out broaxiomoutpost.com. The holidays coming up. We've got gift cards. If you're not sure what to get, we've got gift cards. You can order right on the site. Boom. And use the code BX Holiday. Get yourself 20% off your orders or any order you make from now until the end of the year. Like I said, we got lightsabers. We got the Balin Skull lightsaber. We've got just any Star Wars figure that is supposed to be coming out or is out. We've got it.
You're gonna buy it anyway. Go buy it from Chris. For God's sakes, it's not that hard.
Small businesses. Don't go to Amazon and Target and all that. Unless it's exclusives. I understand at that point. But
I mean, there's fewer letters in Amazon, but Bro Axiom Outpost is better. And I'll tell you this. You're not going to get a 20% discount between now and Christmas with Amazon or Target. No, sir. Go do it. Go do it today. Chris, this has been a blast, man. It was great to see you again. Man. Great to talk Star Wars with you for an hour. And great talking to James. Congrats to KG for winning the book. Reach out to me, KG, and we'll figure out how to make this happen. And we'll get you your book from James. And Chris, may the Force be with you.
Always.
Just one more round, friend, then homeward bound, friend. Don't forget me in your dreams. Just one more song, friend, and then so long, friend. The nights get shorter, it seems. Just one more rhyme, friend. Yes, it's a crime, friend. But you know time, friend. Time can fly. So it's good night, friend. Good night, but not goodbye.